been trying to get money. They ask Johnny, where you been at? Out here with us outside, got it still on swole. You know where that effing in at. But we won't get into that, cause these boys got quick lips. Hate on Fat Johnny in the Audi with the stick shift. Catch him in that red zone, hit him with that pick six. This is Crooked Christian, small city, big business. Look, you gon' need a cosign, cause we definitely throw hands when it go down. Dion in his prime, showtime at the showdown. Ain't no gas in the cutter, but you getting mowed down. Smoking on this hybrid, this shit hit like Gohan. Then I pass it to my bad bitch. We chop it up, she slop it up like some manwich. Shit's pretty, you can paint them on a canvas, but I'ma bust on them like a say on a jet ski. They think I'm up eating chicken salad, trying to track my package. They telling me it's hitting Dallas, and they gonna pay a pretty penny once it hit the valley. Johnny. Trill. Yo, Trill. What it do, what it do, what it do? It's a dilly. It's your boy Loud. Another episode of Trill Talk. Episode 5, I believe. This is another little solo mission, you know what I'm saying? We had some good guests come through and speak on it, but this one we're gonna kick a little solo mission on this Thanksgiving edition tip. Trill Talk, you know, when we speak the truth, we're gonna speak the real. Always keep it trill. Trill. Yeah, so Thanksgiving is in a couple of days, man. I know y'all big bears. I know y'all love y'all some Thanksgiving. I with the Thanksgiving. I like I like going to eating other people's food because I'm always cooking, dog. I'm always cooking. I know some of y'all cook. I know some of y'all get y'all whip the pots, but me personally, man, something about cooking. I like cooking, but when it comes to Thanksgiving, I like going and eating other people's food. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just telling King, I'm one of those dudes that I want to try all your sides. I want to try everybody's sides. I'm gonna judge you based on your sides. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna look forward to that. But usually back in the day, I would kick it 2, 3 different visits in a Thanksgiving. Man, it was live back in the day. I don't know. Holidays just seemed like they were different back then, but I remember going to like 2, 3, 4 different houses on Thanksgiving back in the day and just getting fat as hell and just taking naps at my aunt's crib and all fat on the couch. I remember that when I was young, man. I thought they were just lying about turkey being making you sleepy, but that should make you sleepy as fuck, man. I can't doing too much of the turkey now in my older years. I was telling King I'd be eating the ham and shit like that, but I'd be fucking tearing up some green bean casserole and that's my shit, dog. Green bean casserole. Really, you think about it, it don't sound too. That shit don't sound appetizing at all, but I love some green bean casserole, dog. So that's my thing. Trying to trying to get all the stuff into. I don't know, and it trips me out how everybody makes shit different. That's what I like. I like seeing how everybody makes their shit different. You pull up at someone's house, they gonna have cranberries and the stuff and the grapes and shit. I don't know. I like my stuff in a certain way. I think it's cornbread stuff, and I think that's the way I like it. You know what I mean? I'll try everybody's shit. People always make potato salad crazy. I like my potato salad a certain way, the way my lady makes it.
Like it white or yellow?
I like the yellow because I like the mustard.
Nah, really.
I like it with dill relish and mustard. I think that's my thing. That's why I like because I eat other people's shit and I don't like big pieces of egg in my potato salad. And the other thing is too, I don't eat it real cold. Like I'll let it chill. Room temperature for that shit. But remember when that was a big like holiday that we always looked forward to when I was young and shit. Thanksgiving. I'm not too big on. I wasn't too big on Halloween. Halloween and Christmas when I was young. I was Thanksgiving is like what I look forward to. So Yeah, it was always like something. I don't know. It felt like a little baby family reunion every time. Every Thanksgiving for some reason. I mean, Christmas, everybody kind of like does their own thing and kind of chills at the house and stuff like that. But for some reason, Thanksgiving was like when everybody came out the woodworks as far as like family was concerned. Man, all my cousins would get together at my uncle's house. So that's why I like stopping at everybody's crib because you could always get, you get a dose of your cousins over here, your dose of your cousin. And I come from a big family, dog. So I have hella cousins and shit. So that was always live. And then we would always do hide and seek. We'd always play basketball and like somebody's fucked up ass rim. Somebody always had like a little half ass rim on a broken concrete driveway or some shit. Always end up hooping in your dress clothes. You put on a nice little outfit for Thanksgiving. You be sweaty as fuck by 1 o'clock, just trying all sorts of silly ass shit. I remember that shit. Fuck it. But I hope y'all have a good Thanksgiving, man. I hope y'all have a good time with y'all's families and the whole nine. Um, one thing I remember, I know you do, King, but y'all remember the group, the Fugees, used to be Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean. They had a hit song that "Killing Me Softly" when Lauryn Hill wrecked. She wrecked that song, "Killing Me Softly." But they had another member, dog. His name was Proswell. Pros. And I was watching something on the phone, and this fool got indicted by the feds for some crazy shit. So I was reading it, but you know, and y'all into some crazy shit. So this dude basically stole. I don't know how he did it. I don't know if it was crypto or fraud or something, wire fraud or something like that. But he stole hundreds of millions of dollars. I want to say it was even B's, but it was hundred millions of dollars. It might have been a couple of B's, but and that's crazy to think about billions. But we'll say he was a spy. Oh shit, you heard about it. So check it out. He stole all this money from these people and he I guess he got ghosts. And I don't know if he came to the USA. Well, yeah, obviously he had to come to the USA. So he got ghosts and he came to the USA. Well, the people that he stole from somehow they got involved in it. And I'm not hip to this fool at all. Like I'm not up on game about no Proswell from the Fugees. But from what I take, he's all in the mix, like with politics and he like a liaison for people and shit like that. I don't know. I don't know how deep it goes, fam. But somehow this fool got in the mix with these Chinese folk, and we're talking about big dogs. And so they ended up and, and funded Trump's uh oh no, it was Obama's. It was Obama's, not Trump's. It was Obama's campaign to get Obama elected so that he can uh, head up an investigation on the dude that stole the money from China. It was some crazy shit that went on, but to think that this fool who was once in the Fugees is now caught up in this crazy ass federal indictment, and they're charging him with like being oh, he did, right? Oh shit, okay. They basically charged him as a spy, bro. You know what I mean? Espionage, dog. Federal espionage. That shit was crazy, dog. I saw that shit and I was like, man, that's some shit, dog. For you to be one, to think about it, because 14 years. He was the dude like that always played the background. Like, ain't nobody checking for no prize. You know what I mean? Wyclef Jean was like a superstar. And Lauren Hill, she was a superstar. And that fool just like he was crazy. He still got all the advantages of the other two in the Fugees and full win left field. Like it was crazy. But I think their other homeboy too. I don't know if he was like their producer or uh man, I don't know what he was to them, but his name was like John something. He was a part of their organization, and that fool got caught up in a crazy ass drug conspiracy too, as well, like with some birds and shit. That's just crazy. Yeah. Mick Capistrano says, "Where's Gotti Green? Gotti Green is incarcerated around the Department of Corrections, serving an 8-year non-ag sentence. He is located in Segovia unit right now at the time. At this time, man, I will give y'all his information, but damn it, I don't have it right here in front of me. Uh, but yeah, man, he called me the other day, but I was setting up more money on my phone real quick, and then he didn't call me back. So I'm trying to get him to call in one day on a Tuesday when we do a Trill talk, so that we could, get some of him on whatever the case may be. But that's where he's been. He's been out of the loop. You know what I mean? He's ducked away right now. He's doing good, man. He's part of the Muslim community over there in TDCJ. Um, he decided to go, that route. He's been into Islam for a few years now. Um, so he's just been sitting on his hands, man, and he's a part of that community over there, Segovia unit. But he's doing good. Khalid, what's the deal? We were just talking about your daddy, Khalid. On it. Oh, Trill. Khalid, tell your daddy, Mr. Willie Nichols, that he needs to jump on the podcast, man. We actually were gonna get him to do a session with King, so we want to get him on one of the podcasts where King could be interviewing. Yeah, we'll ask that for some questions. We want to, you know what I mean, give him a little, throw him the bone. You know what I'm saying out here. So, Khalid, tell your daddy, shoot me on the text, man. Trying to see what the deal is. Your question, Mick. That's where Gotti Green's been, but other than that, let me see what I was. Oh, I was talking about Proswell. Yeah, but that shit was crazy, man. That shit kind of threw me for a loop to see that he was involved in that kind of crazy shit, and it had to be some heavy shit because I didn't understand in the whole nine. You know the feds coming for you, partner. They got their whole yeah, they got their. Just let me see what's popping now. The Fed that conviction rate is really, really, really high, damn near perfect, dog. So when you get indicted with the feds, it's gonna be hell, dog. So that shit was crazy though. And then I seen this other thing too, man. Uh, kind of tripped me out, but recently I was seeing. I don't know if y'all know who Kanika Jenkins is, but Kanika Jenkins was this girl, and I'm pretty sure y'all heard the story. But she was a young girl. She was like 19, 20. At this hotel, at the what's the name of that damn hotel? I can't remember the name of the hotel. Anyways, long story short, she ended up dead, and they had found her in a freezer. And at the Crown Plaza, there you go. It was on the tip of my tongue. At the Crown Plaza, and they had found her dead, and it was like a big old thing. I had first seen it on TikTok too because it was just a fucked up situation, and people were saying, "Oh, she drank and she OD'd and this, that, and the third." And all this crazy shit started coming out about it, man. There was a YouTuber by the name of Zach TV who was covering it as well, and there was like some shady shit in the and people were that it was perhaps from him investigating this story, and he had a lot of he had a lot of information in reference to this story, and he wasn't letting the story die. But he also has some ties to the street, you know, Chicago and other things like that, and people were putting it in that category. But who knows? To this day, I really don't even know what happened on that. But this Kanika Jenkins story, it started creating a lot of controversy, and people happened, and they were far as to one of the theories was that the Crown Plaza is actually involved in trafficking and organ harvesting, which is crazy to hear that shit. But you know how people are, opinions, and then those in the sparks end up as fires. So I'm not gonna say that's for sure what was going on, but I was reading comments and the things that people are, you know what I mean? So what happened was all of this stuff started coming out about this going on at the Crown Plaza. And the reason I'm bringing it up right now is because this happened in 2017. We're in 2025. The girl's mom started bringing it up online again this many years later, and everybody's coming for her ass because apparently on the low, well, not on the low, but apparently she took an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement for I think $9 million or $3.7 million, which is, whoever owns, and apparently everyone's saying that she ran out of the money already, and now she is stirring the pot again about her daughter's death. But a lot of people are calling her out about it, talking about, you didn't really love that girl. You didn't, you know what I mean? You took the money real quick. Apparently, like they're saying shit like she took it on the first, like, first offer type shit, bro. And because honestly, she probably could have got more than that. But anyways, they're like, and they were making comments that the sister has been on Instagram flashing designer bags and taking trips and flashy lifestyle now, whereas before she did. And, basically they ran out of, now they want to make a stink about it. But it was crazy. Because I didn't know none of that. I mean, I heard the basic story and I heard what had happened, but I didn't know all this extra shit was going on with the NDA and the settlement amount of money. And so I was like, man, that's crazy. Because I remember hearing the whole story on TikTok and shit like that. But I don't know if shit was crazy. But I was thinking that they were one of the reasons that I kind of brought that up too was like they were saying girl was an alcoholic, and they were kind of trying to put it off on her, like, she's drinking, and that girl, basically been a party girl. She's been a party girl for some time, and you know, basically trying to use that as an excuse, as the as a a reason for her to go through something like that. And I just thought, man, that's crazy because there's their lifestyle, you know what I mean, going on like that. When I was going to the club and shit, a lot of the girls go out every weekend, go out every Friday, go out every Saturday, and that's cool and all. But man, y'all gotta be careful. Y'all be ending up like they show videos of her just walking around by herself and shit like that. Like when y'all go out, man, y'all go out with a group of girls and y'all stick to each other, man. Y'all watch out for each other because that shit's crazy, especially nowadays. This trafficking shit, it ain't no joke, man. So and yeah, it's all right. It's what I mean. It's all right to stay in some Saturday, sweetheart. You know what I mean? Like shit's just crazy, but um, yeah, they found her in the freezer, bro. That shit was crazy to me, dog. You know what I mean? And I got a daughter. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because one day, she's gonna grow up, and I'm gonna have to think about shit like that. Oh, this motherfucker. But you know, y'all just there's a time and a place to party. You know what I'm saying? And really, you know what I mean. Try to reserve that shit for celebration because some of y'all get too comfortable with this party lifestyle, and you know you can end up in some shit like that. You know what I mean? Shit like that can happen to anybody nowadays. I mean, nothing surprises me nowadays. It's 2025. You shouldn't be surprised either, man. But I say that to say this. You know, I kind of wanted to jump into this because, like, I found myself. It's coincidental, but I was having a little. I was drinking a beer today. I don't drink so much anymore though, and I've been finding my. And I didn't do it purposely, but I've been finding myself drinking less and less and less, and I think that's a good thing, man. But I wanted to try to see maybe this year if I could do like a dry, like a sober month, a dry month. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that. I know a lot of y'all got New Year's resolutions coming up that y'all are probably gonna try to tend to, and I will push y'all to try to obtain something good for yourself. New Year's, whether it's a new skill, anything new, do something new for you. I'm not saying reward yourself like that, but like do something that's gonna help you better yourself because you owe it to yourself. You know what I mean? And I was on live the other day and I was kind of like kicking some game about men going through their transition and trying to like rebuild themselves. And it's a big thing for me at this age. There's a whole reason, part of the reason that I started this podcast. And you know what I mean? I'm for the transition of a man to just be better. You know what I mean? Better himself. You don't got to always stay stagnant. There's nothing wrong with positive change. But I was live the other day and I was just kicking some game about being disciplined, man. If you want to try to pick up a new year's resolution this year and you can't think of something to do, man, crack the whip on yourself and try to figure out ways to keep yourself more disciplined, whether that's putting a limit or an amount of how many times you're going to go out this month, or putting a limit on how much money you're going to spend on bullshit you don't need, or whatever the case may be. Try to put some type of limit on yourself, or give yourself some type of degree to abide by, live up to hold yourself accountable, because it's going to be able to build up. You holding yourself accountable, and it in this day and age, man, it's fucking important, because a lot of these people out here, the character of people is the quality of that shit is getting lower and lower and lower by the fucking day. You know what I mean? So I want to be the opposite of that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I push for, over something that they could stand by. Don't be the sheep. Don't go for the in crowd bullshit. Stand on your 2 feet. Keep your back straight and do something to better yourself, because this shit is stagnant, man. People are just it's hard to find good people, man. It's hard to find people with good characteristics nowadays. And so that's a big part of the reason that I'm pushing for men to be better, men to analyze themselves. Take a look at yourself, man, and start getting the hammer and the chisel out. See what take some fat off of yourself, man. Take some, you know, f- uh do it both physically and what's the word? Uh so to speak. You know what I mean? So like there's things, bad qualities about yourself you could fix. That'd be chiseling the fat off. You know what I mean? Stop fucking taking bad habits with you into the new year. Start. Y'all are always real heavy with the New Year resolutions, but ain't no time better than like right now. You know what I mean? Fucking start now. That's basically what you got to do. You can't be waiting around all the time to, oh, well, I'm January 1st. It sounds good on paper, but you got to live up to that shit. You know what I mean? And you really got to take a look at yourself and kind of pick through your bullshit and be like, yeah, there's some shit you could do without, my G. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely some shit every man could clean up in the mirror, man, about his characteristics. You know, some motherfuckers could just some of y'all just need to be better daddies and shit. You know what I mean? So if y'all spend more time with your kids, I promise you, you're gonna fucking feel a lot better. You know, little shit like that. You know what I mean? Just that's the type of shit you want to put on your plate for the new year. Good, wholesome, positive shit. So that's the type of shit I'm trying to preach. You know, this year with along with discipline, man. I think every person in his life helped me. It's helped me so fucking much. I feel like for a long time I didn't have any discipline. I didn't have even with myself, I didn't give myself any I didn't reprimand myself. You know what I mean? I didn't get on my own ass. I made a lot of excuses for myself. I let myself slide with a lot of shit. And I don't do that shit no more. I don't do that shit no more. I guess basically I listen to the fucking voice in my head that's telling me, nah, bro, that shit's whack. Don't do that. You're better than that. Do this. And I've actually started listening to that voice and it produces different results for me. And it's hard, you know what I mean? Nothing about discipline is easy. You know, discipline is based upon doing shit you don't want to do, but knowing that it has to get done. And so, you gotta just crawl and pick through your characteristics. But that's something that I want to push towards my guys. You know what I'm saying? I think it's something that every man who is already been through their 20s and kind of already been through that wild shit. You know what I mean? I speak to y'all because appreciate it more. You know what I mean? Y'all appreciate it more because y'all were able to survive a lot of this fast life shit. You know what I mean? Some people they really haven't been through shit, and I speak to my guys who have been to rock bottom, who've hit their rock bottom. You know what I mean? I speak for y'all, so um, I just want y'all to try to keep your head high. You know what I'm saying, and stay focused and add a little discipline to your fucking to your everyday routine. I know a lot of y'all got routines and shit, so try to add a little discipline to your routine, whether it's trying to take on, maybe not drinking as much or maybe not smoking as much or maybe trying to hit the gym, but add some discipline to your repertoire, my G, and I swear to God it's going to change you. It's going to do some good things for you. I was talking about on the live I had went live and I was speaking on the same topic, but I had brought up an example of being disciplined to just stay down for the come up. Be patient. You got to be patient because a lot of times, a lot of y'all want to jump the gun. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all get tired where you're going through the putting in work phase. You know what I mean? Let's say you got a new job and you're starting at the bottom. That time period is only temporary. You got to know that. And a lot of people aren't even willing to go through that temporary amount of time to succeed to the next level. They don't have the patience and they lack the discipline. So you have to understand that you got to give yourself discipline and you got to stay patient on that first level. There's no way to get to the second level if you don't know how to stay patient through that first level. And a lot of guys in the street, that's what makes them unsuccessful when they're in the street. They burn bridges. They got this new, they started this whole wave, run off on the plug. Motherfuckers were running off on the plug, burning bridges and creating bad ties. And that doesn't get you anywhere but a bad name and a price on your head. You know what I'm saying? So like there's just a lot of bad fucking characteristics getting picked up. You know what I mean? And these are bad examples to follow. You know what I mean? So you gotta stay you gotta stay loyal, and part of staying loyal and part of having honor, you gotta have some fucking honor. And I think that that's not, That is real slim nowadays. People don't give a fuck about honor. People don't give a fuck about their face card. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't give a fuck about your face card. Oh, let's see here. Albert Reyes says it hard to run and open a business. Yes, it's hard to run and open. Of course, it's hard to run and open a business. Yeah, because if it wasn't, everybody would succeed. Everybody would be able to do it. Most businesses they don't make it through the first through. I think it's 4 years. You'll be successful if you can make it through the first 4 years. But most businesses don't make it through the first year. And if I could give you guys any advice on that, is save your money, save your money, um, and don't invest all of your money in your first business. Let's say, um, and put together a schedule. Put together and what I mean by a schedule is put together an amount of cost line items that it's going to take for you to open your business. Yeah, put a business plan together, but more so mathematically speaking, put your numbers together. Put your whole numbers together. Break your list out. This is how much it's going to be for the first month's rent and the deposit. Put the second month's rent in there too. These are more what all my materials are gonna cost. My This is gonna be my cost of goods sold. I'm gonna have to do this, rental equipment, whatever the case may be. Put all your line items in there and get your amount. Hypothetically speaking, let's say your amount is $20,000, right? This is how much you're gonna. So don't just save $20,000. Save $30,000. Then you can spend the $20,000 to start your business up, and then you have 10K in your kitty ready to go because there's always going to be a rainy day when it's a small business. Always, you can guarantee 100% of the time there's going to be a rainy day, and those motherfucking rainy days come. They come. So you gotta put small is you can't. What I mean by revenue is the money you're making that's coming into the business. You can't see the revenue and see it as income. That's not income. That's revenue coming into the business. After the revenue comes into the business, then you got to distribute the monies. Okay, where does this go? I got to pay my bills. I got to pay my rental bill. I got to pay my employee. Okay, I got to pay my employer tax. I got to pay my sales tax payable for the quarter. I got to pay my insurance. This and this and that. And I think a big problem is when you're running a small business, you may start seeing money that you don't normally see on a check to check basis, a few hundred dollars or a few $1,000. Maybe you start now you're actually starting to see, more maybe double digit thousands coming in, and that's the most money that you've ever made legally or whatever the case may be at the quickest momentum that is coming through. And you start getting overwhelmed. Well, that's something that you need to check yourself with, because it happens a lot. People start seeing small business owners, they start seeing the amount of money coming in, and then they get kind of crazy, and they're like, "Oh well, the money's gonna keep coming in, so let me buy this '67 Chevy Bel Air, and let me do this and that and the third." And then you know the next this year, the same time the next year, they're selling the Bel Air, and it's like you don't want to put yourself through that. You know what I'm saying? So would you say Corpus is the worst place to start a business? Nah, Corpus is not the worst place to start a business. But what I would say is you have to, like for example, a nightclub or a bar, etc. Nah, I mean, I I helped manage Vino Meal for a while, and I opened Exodus Music Lounge for a while, for a few months. And um, one thing I will say about that is you got to pick the right landlord. If you don't own the building, you got to pick the right landlord, man. That's so important because a good landlord is hard to come by, and you got to make sure that they provide a contract, and the contract has blatant stipulations on there that's clear. But as far as like if they make money or not, yeah, they're gonna make money. But like I said, you got to put all your line items together, because I've done the freestyle thing, and what I say by freestyle is I've went to start a business and I financed it as I went, and I freestyled the whole business plan as I went. Oh, I fucked up here. I need to go make this correction. Oh, I fucked up here. I need uh development services hit me up. Oh, I fucked up here. I didn't know I couldn't go this high with the wall. Oh, I fucked up here. And I'm freestyling all of this shit and I'm running into all these situations and it's costing money. And I would say that the biggest that's going to be the biggest determining factor is if you got all your ducks in a row prior to beginning. Just make sure you do that, and then you got to kind of make sure you focus on your demographic. If you're talking about a nightclub or a bar, focus on your demographic. Who are you going to aim it towards? Is it just going to be something in general? Or I just want a nightclub. So everybody from 18 to 55 is going to be in this nightclub. What kind of music are you going to play? What's going to be the theme? Are you going to go? Are it going to be Tejano? Is it going to be country? Is it going to be Western? Is it going to be hip hop? Top 40. That's when you gotta start thinking, and the more you limit down your demographic and the better it's gonna be. You could create a niche. You know what I mean? I would say, like, if you would ask me, oh, what kind of club would you open right now? I would open a dinner club for people 25 and up that plays nothing but R&B. And that would be what I would invest in. I'm narrowing down my demographic. I know people who listen on to eat while they have drinks. There's a whole culture of people. I mean, there's a whole culture. There's a whole community of people. There's a whole demographic of people that don't want to go out after midnight. That don't want to go out after dinner. You know what I mean? They want to eat dinner. They want to have two, three, four drinks at dinner and then go home. So that's who I would narrow it down to. And that's just me. That's something. Or I would have like uh a heavy metal the heavy metal scene and the way they support each other. When I was running Exodus, the rap guys didn't they barely hit me up. You know what I mean? The heavy metal guys, they were there every weekend. They wanted, yeah, and they wanted every available slot, and they brought their own crowd. You know what I mean? And they had it. They had it going, man. They had their system pat down. So that's what I would say about that. Like, there's not there can't be enough. You know what I mean? People are always going to drink. People are always going to want to have a good time. That's like saying, "Oh, we have too many restaurants." Yeah, we may have too many Mexican restaurants, but these motherfuckers eat a ton of Mexican food. So as long as the supply is there, I mean, as long as the demand is there, the supply is going to keep coming, and that's basically the way it is. There's always going to be some type of demand for partying, bro. It's just, it is what it is. But like I said, it depends how you come with it. It depends on the demographic, and it also depends how you promote. You know what I mean? And so you just got to make sure that you're up for all that, and that's what I would say. That's my advice to you. Albert Ray is on that, but you have any other questions, just let me know, or you can hit me up directly. You know what I mean? Um, but man, I'm all for y'all starting y'all's own business. If y'all think, have y'all been the year, just jump off the porch. And you don't got to start with an LLC. I push I push the organization of the formations of LLCs and corporations and stuff like that. I push that because I want to guide you guys in the right direction. But you don't got to start there. Don't get it twisted. You can start by you yourself and your goddamn social security number. That's a sole proprietorship. Would you ever try to open a club again if you could go back? Oh yeah, man, I would. I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to run a dinner club. That's what club to run a dinner club. I would like the Vino Mio spot back again. I would. I would like to run. It would be great. It would be perfect. Run a dinner club with a stage. Sometimes we could have live music. Sometimes we could have a DJ. Um, but for the most part, it would be kind of set in a type of scenery. And like I said, I would want to cater more to like R&B um community and stuff like that. Cause on the low, man, I'm a big R&B head. Like I love 90s R&B. I grew up on that shit. And I love that shit. So like low key, a lot of people don't know that, but I would. That's what I would do as far as the club. And yeah, I would definitely try to do it again. You know what I mean? The only problem was is that, like I said, I got to have all my ducks in a row prior, and just things look good on paper for me. Out of my hands, that you gotta make sure that you have contracts if you're bringing partners in, and you got to make sure that you have your budget down, and that you understand all the moving items, and like I said, you got to put capital away from a rainy day and shit like that. So if I had if I had the means to make it all happen, to answer your question, yeah, I probably would do it. I don't have a problem with trying. Definitely not. So, would you consider the west side of Corpus of town the best place to start, or permanently move downtown Corpus? West side is a start. Or actually, and let me give you my opinion on that. I wouldn't say that the west side's a bad part, but it just, like I said, it all depends on what the business is. Now, if you're asking me, is the west side a good place for a club? I would say it depends on the type of club. Now, if you're shooting for at the Hano Club on the west side, then yeah, that's a good choice. Maybe like, if you're gonna play Tejano and corridos, and if you're gonna cater to um and maybe throw some reggaeton in there and cater to Latin music on the west side, I would say yes, it's a good idea, because you got to realize the demographic. Or if you were gonna have like a little hood bar that maybe played oldies, that cater to something that the older crowd will want to hear, or something like that, then yeah, that would be a good idea. But you're asking for trouble if you're gonna try to open up a West Side like top 40 or hip hop club or something like that, because there's just gonna a lot. It's gonna invite a lot of a younger crowd, and there's just gonna be a lot more activity going on. So prepare yourself for that. But I wouldn't say it's a good or bad, because people, um, people who people who the society would say don't really have a lot of money, they like to spend cash, and they like to spend cash on Fridays and Saturdays. Why? Because they get paid on Fridays. So I always think a little club like that and on the west side of town, or a little hood part of town, will always do good, because I don't care what anybody says. People who don't make a lot of money spend cash. So that's just what it is. Yeah, all of that shit, all of those were around for a reason, man. Because people who don't make a lot of money, they like to spend their cash when they get it. It's just what it is. So, and then the other thing you were saying about downtown was, downtown's cool. Don't get me wrong. And the good thing about downtown right now is there's a lot going on with the downtown improvement. What is the name of that group? I can't remember what there is, but they're like a downtown development group that will actually help you if you're wanting to put some money into a business that's going to be located downtown. They have a program where they actually like match you funds, and I don't really know how it goes, but a few of the businesses uh, have participated in that, and that kind of what it kind of helped them kind of catapult their business to what it is now, or to the downtown location, and kind of put them leveled them up actually. But that's a good place. But on the cool, man, I would say the best place to open business route would be probably like off Yorktown. The property, the rates and the commercial suites over there is really high. But I say that because that part of the city is growing, and it's growing, and it's growing, and it's going to keep growing, and eventually we're going to connect to London, out there. Um, that whole area of, after Saratoga, is going to eventually connect to London and move out there to Chapman Ranch. And they got a Chapman Ranch subdivision started out there already. And then, so that's where I see it going. So that's why I say, businesses out there were they definitely do good. But I'm the type of guy that it just really all depends on the numbers. If it makes sense, I'm gonna go with it. But as far as location goes, man, I've seen businesses do good on any side of the city. It really depends on your promotion, bro. It really depends on your promotion. And it's gonna depend on, the quality of whatever service or product that you're offering. If you live up to what you're talking on your promo, then people will come. You know what I mean? Um, but it just depends on the effort you put in, bro. You gotta to me, if you're asking me my personal opinion, you gotta go heavy on social media promotion. Whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're paying somebody to do it, it's about how you look. And people will judge you with their eyes, but that first initial, I guess, contact with you or your business is gonna get them to go see, let me see what's up. That's why when people who have a restaurant or something like that, or they're selling food, my advice to them is, man, get badass pictures of your food. Get some badass footage of your food, all hot, coming. You know what I mean? Make it look badass, because people are gonna judge you with their eyes, and especially if they see your food, it's gonna be like, oh shit, that shit looks good. So they're automatically, boom, gonna go check it out. So if you're doing a restaurant or a bar, whatever the case may be, the promotion for your bar will want to you'll want it to look fun. Like when I was managing Vino Mio, the way we did our promo was like we had a busy night and we shot the promo for the video. I mean, for the business on that busy night. So we weren't faking the fun. We were shooting an actual busy night, people dancing and drinks going, and you know what I mean? We took that and then we created a promotional video for it for the actual place, and it made it look fun. It brought people, once they saw the visual, they're like, "Oh shit, that looks fun. Let me go see what's up." So it all depends on how you approach your marketing, bro, and how you do your promo, and and then you got to have the service and the food to back it up, or whatever the case may be. Otherwise, you're gonna get them one time, and then they're never gonna come back. So, uh, yeah, for real. He said, "I appreciate your podcast talk and financial literacy you give us all. Hey, no problem, bro. Like I always say, this is what I'm here for, dog. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to push for my guys becoming financially literate, to push for my guys to understand the money game, to push for my guys to understand that cash is not the only way to go. You know what I mean? There's other ways to make money, and there's other ways to take your make money from money, and the man, I want to see my guys do better. I like hearing my guys do good shit, man. I like talking to another man. He's telling me, I leveled up. I did this. I just, I'm about to do this. I just got this contract, or I'm just, I'm gonna move in a better house or whatever. I like to see my people doing better, man. And if you ain't that type of person, you gotta move the fuck around for me. You know what I mean? My time now that I give out is limited, and it's for a reason, because I'm focused. I'm locked in, man. I'm trying to better myself, level up, and I want you guys to do the same thing. But yeah, Albert, if you got any more questions, bro, just hit me up. Let me, whatever you think you need to hear, bro. I got you, and I got you. I still do consultations. Somebody hit me up last I had cameras, but and they wanted to sit down and basically just pick my brain about them starting a business, and I do those, man. If you just need somebody to talk to, I do $50 consultations just to sit down and answer your questions and try to guide you in the right direction of where you want to take your business, because nobody fucking did that for me. Nobody did that for me. And if I had a mentor or someone that I could have went to early on before I started fucking up in business, then things would have been easier. So I'm not saying I'm the best mentor. I'm not saying none of that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying buy my package. Or if you need somebody to talk to, who you need some help, you want to get led in the right direction, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for. And then after that, it's up to you to learn for yourself. You got to learn. You come into business and think that you're never going to learn. Granted, in high school, they don't teach us shit about this, because it takes skills to pay the bills, and these are the skills you got to learn. So, you guys got to understand that you can't come into this thing just thinking that you're going to be successful just because. That's what it blows my mind. People just sometimes just think that, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to go get a suite off Everhart. I'm gonna put up a sign. I'm gonna open my business, and people are just gonna come. That's the quickest way to failure. So you have to market for your company, and you got to stand out. It's just the way it is, man. Um, you got to have some type of reason for your customers or your clientele to want to do business with you, because people do business with people. And if you think about it, some right now, some of the community are doing well because they stay in your face, or they stay out in the community, or they stay in the mix. You know what I mean? Like a big shout out to El Vago right now. I want to give a shout out to El Vago because they just did a 100 giveaway for, I think it was free, a free for the less fortunate, 500 plate free giveaway. I think it was, I don't know if it was turkey dinner or what kind of place, but turkey dinner. They were doing Thanksgiving dinner. They gave away 500 plates, dog. And that type of shit is what I love to see. And I'm shout out to El Vago and everybody over there. They got a podcast as well. I think they call it the Volo Cast or something like that. They got a podcast as well. Um, and he's always involved in the community, and they always got something going on, and then they put forth the effort to promote themselves and stay in the mix. And that's what it takes, you guys, the guys that stay in the mix and keep putting themselves out there, those are going to be the people that do good. Now, if you have a business and you're just open for business, it's giving people a reason to want to do business with you. And some people are just, they could fucking spit in a bowl and someone will buy it. Some people are just blessed like that. But for the most part, as normal people, you're gonna have to give people a reason to want to do business with you. And that's the short curlies of it. Um, we kind of took a right about what about what I was gonna talk about today, but it's all good, man. I love kicking that shit to y'all. Um, kind of back on this topic I was touching on before. I was talking about the discipline thing. I was pushing kind of towards my message for today was try to also do your hardest to try to instill discipline in your young sons, man. It is so vital for y'all to instill discipline in your boys, because what I've seen today, nowadays, um, these youngins, they don't got no respect. Um, they pop off at the mouth. They just say a lot of disrespectful shit, and a lot of that comes from discipline in the household, or having a male figure to look up to or mimic. And what they're doing is they mimic a lot of emotional behavior that they see from their mama and shit like that. Um, they pop off at the mouth because women pop off at the mouth. They're quick and they're snappy with comebacks because women are quick and snappy. So as men, you gotta instill some type of discipline in your kids and your sons, excuse me. Be a little bit more stoic. You know what I mean? It's all right to let your boy cry, but not for any bullshit ass reason. And be stern about that, about the reasons that they're crying. Make them explain to you, because it's important to desissify your sons, because society is trying their hardest to sissify your sons. You know what I mean? And it's basically them against us. They're trying their hardest to, make our sons soft, and they're bringing them up in a light that it ain't what we grew up in the 90s, definitely not. So you got to try to help your son win the battle against this bullshit out here, and discipline is going to be a big deal in that. Whether whether it's pushing them in sports. And I'm not the guy that's like, hey, sports is going to solve everything. You're going to go to college, you're going to be a pro athlete. No, I'm not. And I'll be the first one to tell you that. But what sports does for a young kid at that age, it allows him to understand group effort, contributing to a group, getting along with others, social skills, and having to listen to someone who's in charge, and that's a skill that they need to pick up early, because if not, they're going to learn that shit in jail, and you're going to mind somebody in there. So I push the discipline for that, whether you pushing your kids to be better in sports, to be better in education, or or get a job as soon as they're allowed to work, something for them to start learning what it means to do something that you don't really like to do, whether it's having to go to practice when you don't want to, or having to study when you don't want to, or having to go to work when you don't want to. Kids, sons, more specifically, have to learn that shit early on. So y'all got to teach y'all's boy that. You got to teach your boy that, man, and it's going to help you in the long run, and it's going to help them. I've been building my sons up to be disciplined, to have to do something that they don't want to do every day, and that's go to the boxing gym. They go to the boxing gym 5 days a week, and there's plenty of days that they are dying for excuses to not go. There's plenty of days that they don't want to go, but I still make them go, because they have to understand there's going to be so much shit in life that they don't want to do, but they got to do it anyway. And that's going to help them carry over into adulthood when they need to be disciplined about going to college, or going to a job that leads into their career, or saving money. Because if you don't instill discipline as a foundation, you're never going to be able to learn those things. And then you're going to have a failed 19, 20, 21, 22-year old kid who's trying to move out, but he keeps coming back home because he can't get over that hump, because he doesn't have any discipline to look out for his money. He doesn't have any discipline to stay out the club. He doesn't have any discipline to stop spending money on these fast ass women. You know what I mean? So it's important, and I think the word's imperative or some shit like that. Imperative. There you go. To teach them now. Teach them at a young age now. Give them something, some reason to earn the quality of being disciplined. Whether it's, like I said, them getting a job, or, and support them in that shit. Support them in that shit, because they're going to want to look back at themselves and be proud of something. A young man just wants to be proud of something. He wants to fucking be proud of something. So give that young man something to fucking be proud of, and let him know that you support him in it. He may change it up 3, 4, 5 times, but no matter what it is, just support him in it. Be patient with him and support him in it. And I guarantee you, your kid's gonna be all right. Your son's gonna be all right, because you gotta help them. You gotta help them gain an identity of who they are before they get to being a man. Otherwise, once they start being a man, if they don't know who they are, they're gonna be lost fucking men. Lost men. And that's how lost men end up in the prison system. They don't know who the fuck they are, or they attach themselves to an identity that is the wrong identity. You know what I mean? Have you ever wondered why people have like street names? They go have a completely different street name in the street. And mine, like in the street, they call me Loud, okay? But my name's John. So it's like when people in the street end up getting, let's say, a street name or a street identity associated with them, and let's say they start causing a buzz or something like that, and people start mentioning their name more. Oh man, did you hear what Loud did? Oh shit, man, that fool Loud's crazy. This and that. Oh, you hear what Loud did? That shit starts pumping up their ego. That shit just starts giving them dopamine. That shit starts making them feel good. It starts giving them confidence. So then they'll start attaching themselves more with that ego. I mean, with that identity more than their real name. Be like, oh, don't call me that no more. Don't call me John. Call me Loud. Why? Because they have all their best qualities in their perception associated with that alter ego or that identity rather than their real name because they got nothing but pain and hurt and negative shit associated with their name. So that's why people, you know what I mean? People do that all the time. People will stick to that identity. People will, hold on to that identity because it's the only thing that they got to be proud of. That's why some men, that's why you see some men who get out of prison 50, 60 years old, and they don't know how to function out here. Because the only thing they know how to do is be this type of individual associated with this identity. And that's all they've known their whole life. They don't know how to, they're not gonna know how to fucking flip a burger. They're not gonna know how to do this, that, the third. Because it doesn't have nothing to do with the identity that they form. So my advice to y'all is to start early and put some discipline in your kids' lives, man. But that was it, man. That's what I wanted to kick today. My message was about instilling some discipline. Let's see if y'all could, try to do it for yourselves and try to do it for your family. Try to help your kids out, man, especially more specifically your sons. But that was a message today on Trill Talk. I hope y'all have a good Thanksgiving, man. I really hope y'all get to eat all the good food y'all want, see all the family members you want. It's your boy Loud. In 2 weeks, I'm going to see y'all, man. We're going to always speak the truth, speak the real. We're going to always speak the Trill. And I'm going to kick it in 2 weeks with my dog Light. So I'm going to let the cat out the bag, man. My dog Light.